In 1994, an exciting new chapter of the LEGO Pirates adventure was introduced to the world, reinvigorating the theme with deeper mysteries and unexpected dangers, expanding the map with strange, uncharted shores, and adding exotic new faces to our already colorful cast of characters. The Islanders took play and imagination to the next level, providing our pirates with a fresh foe to face. Or were they friends? Was King Kahuka in cahoots with Captain Redbeard against the Imperials? Or were our factions locked in an epic three-sided battle for treasure, territory, and total control of the sea? So many stories were just waiting to be told, and it was all up to you, the LEGO Maniac, to tell them. Now, 30 years later, the LEGO Islanders continue to enchant the imagination of builders across the globe. And today we're going to explore one of the greatest sets from the theme, arguably one of the greatest sets of the 1990s. Welcome back to TrikBrix. Hello again, everyone. I'm Jamie. That's right, very much alive and well. I know it's been a while since you last heard from me, and if you're interested, you can check out the pinned post on my Instagram page to see what I've been up to the past few years, and what you can expect in regards to the future of the channel. If not, just know that all of the kind words and concerns have not fallen on deaf ears. You guys are awesome, and I'm so grateful to have such amazing people joining me in this hobby. Anyway, I'm back, and I thought I'd kick off TrikBrix 2.0 with a bang, revisiting one of my all-time favorite sets from one of my all-time favorite themes, 6278 Enchanted Island. Originally released in 1994, it contains 412 pieces, 7 minifigures, and originally retailed for $66 in the US, which would be close to $150 in today's money. And it's also worth mentioning that this was re-released in 2001 as set number 6292. Even though I never had it as a kid, this set is pretty special to me because I have such vivid memories of staring at it in catalog photos. This image in particular is seared into my memory. While it's actually a picture of a different set, King Kahuka's throne, with a healthy heaping of those sweet, sweet gold coins added for good measure, to me, it represented the sub-theme as a whole, and as kids, of course, we always wanted the biggest set available. I just remember wishing that somehow I could acquire it because I knew if I had this, everything would be right in the world. Unfortunately now, I know that's not true, but it certainly brightens my day every time I take it off the shelf. I've mentioned in past reviews that the tropical setting of the Pirates theme is what makes it one of my favorites. And the Islanders sets really go a long way in building out your pirate paradise, since nearly all of them are land-based, and this right here was the centerpiece. Sadly, I don't have the box, but I do have the instructions with this beautiful mid-90s product photography featured on the front. You would have to be literally blind not to see how much more love went into these compared to modern sets. I mean, is this really the world we're going to leave our children? There aren't any alternate builds featured here, surprisingly. However, thanks to the power of Google Images, I was able to find a back-of-the-box photo from an old eBay listing. Rarely do all of the alternate builds entice me, but every one of these is fantastic, and definitely worth adding to your own island, right alongside the main builds. That's certainly one of my future goals. Years ago, when I made a choice to begin actively collecting vintage LEGO sets, this one instantly sprang into my mind as a must-have. And the day it arrived on my doorstep, it brought with it a joy that can only be attained by fulfilling a decades-long wish. In my humble opinion, it is by far the greatest set in the Islanders sub-theme. So let's take a closer look. Measuring 32 by 64 studs, Enchanted Island not only has tons of room for play, it makes for a pretty impressive shelf piece. And in addition to the island itself, we get a few awesome side builds. We'll check those out shortly, but first, let's explore Enchanted Island. As I mentioned, we're working with two 32 by 32 base plates here. One being a set-exclusive old curved road plate recolored in green and printed with this river pattern, which lines up perfectly with the one on this beautiful raised base plate. As is the case with so many of these old sets, this thing alone contributes significantly to the overall mass of the build, really creating the illusion that we're working with way more parts than we actually are. I know some people aren't fond of raised base plates, but keep in mind that the island itself is comprised of less than 400 pieces, and there's just no way you could get this much bulk at that part count without something like this. I love the way the leaf printing blends with the actual foliage of the set, and we even have a little slice of beach here represented in yellow. Tan wasn't a LEGO color at the time, so sand was always yellow in the old pirate sets. This little waterfall coming down the rocks to meet up with the main river is a great detail, and as you can see, the printing encompasses the entire element, and this is just a great piece of 90s LEGO aesthetic. It's pretty uncommon too, only coming in one other set, the very rare Pirate's Perilous Pitfall. Right next to the river is one of our first play features. It's up to you to decide who this belongs to, but hidden beneath these palm leaves is a cave containing a chest full of what these days can almost be considered actual treasure. 8 gleaming gold coins are either being stashed here by the pirates, or this is King Kahuka's treasure trove. You can never have too many of these things. And the cave is large enough to accommodate multiple treasure chests, or even a few minifigures. In order to get up the mountain, we'll have to climb the ladder, and we find ourselves on this small lookout platform. This is the perfect place to station one of our warriors, so if any intruders should arrive, he can sound the alarm on this zebra skin drum. I'm not sure where the islanders came across a zebra, but we're just gonna go with it because it's a cool print. There's also a slightly out of place flag here that doesn't quite fit the islanders' aesthetic, but maybe the pirates left it as a marker or something. We get 3 of these warriors in the set, all identical. One noteworthy achievement for the islanders' minifigures was that they were the very first to feature leg printing. As you can see, it's pretty simple, and would soon be upstaged by the much more detailed Major Kartovsky later in the same year, but it was groundbreaking at the time of its release. We do get a fairly detailed torso print, and I love that they just continued to riff on the classic smiley, giving us a nice variation in red and white here. The hairpiece was a new mold, and there's a clip on top for adding these horns, which were also brand new, and would have originally come on a sprue, like this. There are enough spears and shields included to arm all 3, and these printed shields are just fantastic. This is a great minifigure, but it's the most common of the sub-theme by far. Back to the island, we can squeeze past this bush and walk along the ridge toward the rear, where we have a simple table build with a yellow goblet. I lament the fact that this element never got the chrome gold treatment, which would have just been amazing. One of my favorite relics of classic LEGO stands guard over here in the corner. No matter how many different ways they come up with to build palm trees these days, nothing is ever going to top the original. They're just so easy to customize and pose. Unfortunately, they've gotten rather expensive to build in recent years, with each of these trunk sections going for close to $1 now. We actually get 2 palm trees in this set, one with the smaller leaves and one with the larger leaves, which we'll see later. This area back here is somewhat bare, but I like that there's space for play and adding your own creative touch, and a place to take shelter from any tropical storms that may arise. I also kind of like these little open spots looking down onto the riverbank. You could either have the pirates sneaking in, or the islanders spying out. There are 2 directions you can take from here, either up the ladder or across the bridge. Up the ladder is where we'll find this small outcrop where none other than King Kahuka himself is overseeing his island empire. A truly timeless minifigure, King Kahuka features the same printed legs but a unique torso, depicting a red sash and what appears to be a bone necklace with perhaps some shark teeth hanging here. But the thing that really makes him stand out is this awesome mask. These feathers add a bit more regality than the horns on the warriors, and as a kid, I always thought it was so cool that you could actually see his eyes peering out. Beneath the mask is another great face print, which is unique to the king. Surprisingly, this minifigure came in all but one of the Islanders sets, 6246 Crocodile Cage, so he's relatively common and fairly easy to get your hands on these days. I love the way the rocks here have become overgrown with vegetation. Much like in the classic castle era, the trees are represented in black, and you've got little bits of foliage sprouting out everywhere. These whips, recolored in green, make for the perfect jungle vines, and this printed panel is perfect for adding some variation to what would otherwise be a plain gray wall. We get 3 of these, and they're a pretty rare piece, only coming in one other set, the often overlooked 1788 treasure chest. Of course, no island jungle would be complete without a monkey. While it's a bit oversized and lacks any printing, the original monkey is just so much more fun to play with when compared to any of the modern versions. 8 points of articulation, 0 points of articulation. It's not even a fair fight. The classic parrot is always a welcome sight, and there's another small shelter here with a torch. The roof is made up of 2 large palm leaves angled down with hinges. Between the large and small sizes, we actually get 17 of these leaves in the set, which is great. Moving along, this is the same one-piece rope bridge we saw introduced for the Pirates theme in 1989, and it fits the look of the set so well as it spans the gap between the main structure and this tower. As is often the case, you can pull a pin, and in theory, the bridge should flip upside down and drop a hapless minifigure into the waiting jaws of the crocodile. It doesn't really work very well though, and usually needs a helping hand. We've all seen the crocodile before, but in 1994 this would have been an exciting pickup since that was the first year he was available, though he did share a few key elements from the classic green dragon introduced the previous year, that being the head and the tail. I think a cage for this guy down here would have been a really cool addition, but instead we're just given a few light gray plates, mainly put here to connect the 2 base plates, and also to make certain we get the proper spacing and placement of this tower. And really, this seems more like a hut on stilts than an actual tower. There's another one of these printed panels used here at the base, and some more room to escape the elements. On the front, we have 3 clips for storing weapons, spears in this case, and I love the ability to slide these shields over the handle. It adds a ton of visual interest and looks great when held by a minifigure. Around the side, there's a pair of ladders leading all the way to the top. If you know anything about old LEGO sets, then you know that getting from level to level often requires a bit of imagination. Not that that's a bad thing, but I do appreciate that our characters can get from the ground to the top without needing the power of flight. There's not much going on up here, but it seems like the perfect place to station our final islander. I haven't been able to find any lore surrounding this character, but by all means, please feel free to enlighten me in the comments if you're able. I like to imagine she's Queen Kahuka, or possibly even the Island Princess. Either way, she's a unique figure appearing in only 2 sets, which makes her the rarest of the tribe. However, the only element exclusive to her is this torso print. Everything else has been seen before, including the head, which first appeared in the legendary Black Seas Barracuda. She stands out in the set for being the only one given a bow and a quiver, instead of a spear and shield. If we continue up the ladder, we'll find another nice little hiding spot for the treasure, or perhaps for someone to lie in wait for an unassuming trespasser. Back on the ground, we have a small campfire with a pot of something minifigure colored. Was this an intentional choice by the designers or just a macabre coincidence? 8-year-old me would definitely have played out the former scenario. Here's our second palm tree back here, and then we get one of the defining features of Enchanted Island, this giant stone statue. The design of this is absolutely spot on. So perfect, in fact, that it was brought back decades later in Pirates of Barracuda Bay, with a very similar build. The head can swivel from side to side, adding an air of magic to the statue, He's holding a pair of torches, and his body contains the third and final printed corner panel in the set. But my favorite feature here is around back. This is the perfect place to lock up any invaders/possible entrees, and the unique way the door is built is a nice departure from the jail cell more commonly found in 90s sets. We've seen both of these guys before, but their inclusion is certainly welcome, especially Captain Ironhook. They're given the obligatory pirate weapons as well as the all-important treasure map. It's fun to decide if one of these is Enchanted Island, or if it's an uncharted off-the-edge-of-the-map kind of place. The last thing on the island to look at is this seemingly unassuming staff decoration stuck in the bush here. As a kid, I used to think that this was just something elaborate for King Kahuka to wave around, but then I looked a bit closer and began making some comparisons, and then discovered that a nearly identical build can be found in Crocodile Cage. It just appears to be a bit more fresh, and instead of black, the pole is blood red. I'll let you draw your own conclusions, but I think the set designers might have snuck some shrunken heads by the parents here, and I love it. LEGO could have given us this and called it a very good day, but they went the extra mile and decided to include a few things that really rounded out the experience and greatly expanded the play possibilities. The smallest of these inclusions is the King's Litter. It's a simple build, less than 20 pieces, but it gives our island ruler a definite air of importance, and it can be carried about by two of his loyal subjects, or, as the box art suggests, the included alligator could do the heavy lifting. The next side build is this fantastic little pirate boat, which happens to be my favorite LEGO has ever done when utilizing the common rowboat element, mainly thanks to this small jib sail up front, which really goes a long way in improving the silhouette. We've had plenty of these little sailboats over the years, but curiously, none of the others feature this, which is a bit of a shame, I think. At any rate, I love how the black and white color scheme echoes the Skull's Eye schooner and the Renegade Runner, both of which were also on store shelves in '94, so we have a nice cohesion in our pirate fleet at that time. Everything else is pretty standard. There's a small Jolly Roger atop the mast, a few benches, and you're given a pair of red oars for the journey upriver. Last but not least, our islanders obviously need a way to get around too, so we're given this awesome little catamaran. It's built atop another brand new for '94 element, the canoe. It's such a great piece that it's actually still in production today. I think that this fits the island style way better than a rowboat would, and the only thing I'm not crazy about are these stickers. Even if you're able to find an unused sticker sheet and apply them yourself, there's something about this curve and the ever so slightly textured plastic that they just don't seem to like, and personally I've never been able to get them to adhere very well. Printing this awesome design would have been a much better situation, but alas, this is what we got, and fortunately they're the only stickers in the set. One thing I have no complaints about, however, is this amazing sail. I absolutely love the graphic design style here, and it pops so well against the rest of the set. A turntable at the base of the mast lets you adjust the angle. I like the asymmetry this small outrigger adds to the build, and of course, we're given another oar, this time in brown. Enchanted Island is nothing short of an all-time classic. As a kid, it was so full of possible adventures, and as an adult, it's dripping with nostalgia and has an atmosphere that few sets can match. And it does it all with just over 400 pieces. Perfectly balanced in its simplicity and unlimited play potential, this set achieves what hundreds, maybe thousands of sets in the last 30 years have failed to do. It has become timeless. There's only one serious downside to this that I can think of, and that's the price. Around $200 is the going rate for a used copy, probably without the box. You can add about $1,000 to that if you're looking for a sealed copy. If you're buying used, a few things to watch out for would be the sails. Fraying, fading, stains, and tears are all common, and replacements can be expensive, so try to find a set with decent sails from the get-go. Mine are okay, but nowhere near mint. Something else you'd probably rather not have to replace is this raised base plate. They're prone to cracks, especially around the edge, and you may even find a few dented studs, since this is a softer, more flexible plastic than your standard Lego plates. More often than not, it's cheaper in the long run to spend a few extra bucks up front for a set in good condition rather than replacing damaged or worn out parts down the road. That said, it's still possible to find some killer deals on eBay or Marketplace these days that might be worth going the upgrade route if necessary. So my advice is, if you really want this, or any other vintage Lego set for that matter, be patient. Get to know the potential problems and keep your eyes peeled. There are still plenty of moms out there cleaning out their kids' toy boxes, so don't lose hope. And honestly, there really isn't a bad set in the entire sub-theme, so even if you can't swing the high price tag on Enchanted Island, I don't think you'll be disappointed should you decide to pick up any of these. We'll take a closer look at all of the other Islanders offerings in the future, but for now, there's only one thing left to do: add more palm trees. Thanks for watching, everyone. It feels good to be back. Until next time, take care and play well.